I think almost everyone can agree that microtransactions have been a problem in games for around 2 decades now. Pretty much ever since Bethesda released the cosmetic horse armor in The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Since then, we've seen methods such as loot boxes, battle passes, in-game stores, and many more cropping up in the gaming world, especially with these live service games. Even though some companies do microtransactions well, a lot of the time most other companies definitely execute them in terrible and predatory ways. I think one of the major problems in recent years that's been sprouting from all of this is the constant fear of missing out, otherwise known as FOMO. A major factor of all this is Fortnite. Whether you love it or hate it, Fortnite definitely will be remembered as a game of all time, especially when you mention its impact on the gaming world when it comes to its microtransactions. I mean, think about it. An in-game store that regularly rotates between different cosmetics every day, battle passes filled with cosmetic rewards that come out every few months, and constant updates and limited time events that became the basis for a lot of live service games we see today. It might not have been the first, but due to its massive success, Fortnite has definitely influenced the gaming industry in a lot of negative ways when it comes to microtransactions and the fear of missing out, especially in the live service side of things. Matter of fact, speaking of FOMO, game companies have definitely used this tactic in order to make as much money as possible. How so? Well, just think about it for a second. How many times have you or someone you know bought certain cosmetics or grinded multiple daily and weekly challenges in order to attain said cosmetics in a certain amount of time? I think that's a lot of the reason why the battle pass system for a ton of games works so well for these companies. They make use of the psychological manipulations such as FOMO to create artificial scarcity, such as making the battle passes available for a limited time, usually only a couple of months. This entices the players to log in every day of the week in order to grind for cosmetics in the battle pass so that they can get the rewards before the season ends. In my opinion, it turns the game from just something to play and enjoy to something that feels more like a full-time job where you have to clock in, do your daily tasks, and clock out. And most likely, for most games, the battle pass rewards aren't ever coming back, which makes the players even more inclined to spend real money for said battle pass and grind it out in order to get all the rewards so that they don't miss out on the latest skins and get the most out of their money. Game companies also use FOMO for the in-game store. Bringing the conversation back to Fortnite, the game constantly has different collaborations with damn near every franchise and celebrity out there. However, a lot of the time, most of the collaborations appear in the item shop and last for only about a week. And while some do come back later on, a lot of them either don't or take so long to come back that it still entices players to buy them, since they don't want to potentially miss out on not having the cosmetics and either having to wait a long time or just not being able to get them at all. So many other games have used these tactics as well. Apex Legends, Fall Guys, Marvel Rivals, just to name a few. It's especially wild too, cause like, why the fuck does NBA 2K or Call of Duty have battle passes all of a sudden? Even games like the aforementioned Marvel Rivals, who are a little more forgiving with their microtransactions, they still use FOMO tactics by having multiple different passes to buy and only having them permanently if you're able to buy them. Although, other than using FOMO, gaming companies also use other psychological tactics in order to get you to spend more money. For example, have you ever noticed how most multiplayer live service games never display the real world price of items? This is because by disguising the prices as in-game currency like gems or coins, it makes it seem like the prices are cheaper, so you end up spending more money on certain cosmetics than you probably would if the actual price was displayed. Especially when the bundles for in-game currency have buzzwords such as 10% more or best value, for example. Even if it's cheap, like let's say $5, the spending can easily add up over time to tens, hundreds, or in the cases of some people, thousands of dollars. Side note, it's even funnier since like a day after I finished writing this script, Fortnite went ahead and decided to announce some abysmal changes to their V-Bucks pricing system, which gives you less of the currency, but keeping the price the same for whatever fucking reason. Anyway, back to the video. In this case though, at least most of the time, you can actually see what you're spending your money on. Because in my opinion, this pales in comparison to the trap of loot boxes and gacha mechanics. On top of all the things I just mentioned, gaming companies also utilize elements from gambling and casinos in order to get you to spend more. How, you may ask? Well, again, think about it. Even though loot boxes aren't really a thing anymore due to some heavy legal action against them, they're still pretty prevalent in some games such as Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2. Oftentimes, loot boxes use psychological tricks by using flashy colors and effects to induce dopamine hits on the player, which will make them want to keep going and spend more money to have a chance to get whatever rare item they want. Similar to how casinos and slot machines work, they want you to feel excited so you don't leave the building, so they have to use those effects in order to keep you there. Even when the player does get that rare item, they will want to keep going in order to get more of those items due to the aforementioned dopamine hit and gratification of getting said item. This is especially apparent in gacha games, where new characters and items to upgrade them to a decent level are oftentimes locked behind different limited time banners, which is, again, using the fear of missing out I was just mentioning. I mean, theoretically speaking, you could gain rewards by playing the game, but that would take a lot more time, and it's not as much rewards gained as you would by just basically paying to gamble for virtual rewards. Some of the most famous examples of this are Hoyoverse gacha games such as Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, which have been using these exact tactics in order to get people to spend money. And as you can tell, they have been making absolute bank off of players spending ludicrous amounts of money on virtual currency and rewards. A lot of gaming companies have been using tactics like this for years, and unfortunately have found great success from it. Honestly, in my opinion, if you want these companies to stop using predatory tactics for these microtransactions, let your voice be heard and stop buying these microtransactions. I mean, we've all bought microtransactions before, myself included, especially when the game is genuinely great and doesn't keep shoving microtransactions up your ass and are actually fair about it. But to the ones that are still using predatory tactics, please vote with your wallet and support something actually great. Whether it be a single player game, a multiplayer game with actually fair microtransactions, something like that. You have to tell these companies that you're not buying this shit. That way they can change their ways. Our voices can do a lot, y'all. So we gotta support something great. Speaking of supporting something great, I'd say we should support the representation of black hair in video games. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, go ahead and smash that video on screen.